Welcome to our lecture online. Here we have 5 charges drawn on the board. 3 of them are positive, 1 microcoulomb, 10 microcoulombs, 5 microcoulombs, and 2 are negative, -8 microcoulombs and -2 microcoulombs. We have drawn 3 Gaussian surfaces, S1, S2, and S3. S1 engulfs these 3 charges, S2 engulfs these 2 charges, and S3 encompasses these 3 charges. Now notice we did not follow the normal rules where we place the charge at the center of each of the Gaussian surfaces in such a way that the electric fields will be perpendicular at the surface of the Gaussian surfaces and that the electric field will be constant anywhere along the surface. That will not be the case here. In finding the electric field due to the presence of these charges, using these Gaussian surfaces wouldn't really work. However, what we can do is we can find the flux through each of the surfaces, the total flux. The definition of the flux can be found by saying that that is equal to the product of the strength of the electric field times the area. Well, in that case, you say, well, how can we find the flux? Because we don't know the strength of the electric field, and neither do we know the area of these Gaussian surfaces, especially since the shape is very, very different. There's no symmetry there. There's no way we can figure this out. However, we also know that using Gauss's law, this must be equal to Q inside divided by epsilon sub naught. In other words, the flux through any of the surfaces only depends upon the charge enclosed by the flux by the Gaussian surface, and divide by epsilon sub naught, which is a constant. So all we need to do, and of course any little circle there's phi. So all we need to do is simply sum up all the charges inside each surface divided by epsilon sub naught, and we have the flux through each of the 3 surfaces. So let's start with surface 1. So flux 1 is equal to the sum of all the charges inside divided by epsilon sub naught. So in this case, for surface 1, we're going to add these 3 together. So that would be 1 microcoulomb plus 10 microcoulombs minus 8 microcoulombs, all divided by epsilon sub naught. And so this is equal to 11 minus 8, which is 3 microcoulombs divided by epsilon sub naught would be 8.85 times 10 to the minus 12. That would be Coulomb squared divided by Newton meter squared. So for the first one, what do we get? So we have 3 microcoulombs, which is 3 e to the 6 minus divided by 8.85 e to the 12 minus equals, and let's see here, that's 339,000. Let me try this one more time just to make sure. 3 e to the Yes, indeed, 3.39 times 10 to the 6th. So that would be equal to 3.39 times 10 to the 6th. And of course, the units would be newtons per coulomb times meter squared. So that's newtons per coulomb times meter squared. And that would be the flux through the first surface. Now let's do this again for the second surface and see what we get. So flux through the second surface is equal to Q inside divided by epsilon sub naught. So that would be the sum of those 2. So minus 8 microcoulombs plus 5 microcoulombs divided by, that would be epsilon sub naught. And so this is equal to, now let's just combine the 2. That would be minus 3 microcoulombs divided by 8.85 times 10 to the minus 12. And what I'm going to do here is simply write this as 3 times 10 to the minus 6. Now you say, well, wait a minute. You have a negative there, negative charge. Can you have negative flux? Well, it turns out, no, there's no such thing as negative flux. What it does indicate, though, is that the electric field is, in general, is into the surface rather than out of the surface. So that's what the negative means. But in essence, there's no such thing really as a negative flux. Just the indication, the negative just indicates that the flux is in an inward direction. So let's do this one. So it's 3 e to the 6 minus divided by 8.85 e to the 12th minus, which is equal to, wow, exactly the same? Well, it has to be the same because the magnitude is the same. I didn't even realize that. So we end up with a negative 3.39 times 10 to the 6th. That would be Newton per Coulomb times meter squared. And of course, the negative simply indicates that the flux is in instead of out the surface. And then for flux 3, that is equal to, we add all the fluxes together, so all the charges together, so it's 10 microcoulombs. In essence, adding all the flux together would be okay, correct, because we could do it separately. We can calculate the flux for each of the 3 charges and simply add the flux together. We could have done that as well. So we have 10 microcoulombs plus 5 microcoulombs minus 2 microcoulombs divided by epsilon sub naught. So this is equal to 13 times 10 to the minus 6 divided by 8.85 times 10 to the minus 12. And let's see what we get here. So 13 e to the 6 minus divided by 8.85 e to the 12 minus is, and that would be 1.47. So 1.47 times 10 to the 7th newtons per coulomb. Am I doing that right? Times 10 to the 6th. Let me take a quick look here. Let's see, there we go. 1.46. I think I was off by a factor of 10. I think these are to the 5th power, not to the 6th power. So let me check that in just a moment. Again, my eyesight is not as good as it used to be, and I don't always see the decimal point, but that's 1.47 times 10 to the 6 newtons per coulomb times meter squared. Let me quickly do the other calculation again to see what I got here. So 3 e to the 6 minus divided by 8.85 e to the 12 minus equals, and yes, indeed, that would be 3.39 times 10 to the 5th, not times 10 to the 6th. So good thing that I caught my mistakes. So here are the results of the 3 calculations to find the flux through the surface. So all we need to know is simply what the charge is inside the Gaussian surface to figure out the total flux. And it doesn't matter the shape or where the charge is or how close or far away the charge is from the surface. None of that matters. Just the total amount of charge inside the surface is what matters to find the flux through the surface. And that's also we figured out using Gauss's law.